Hey y'all, I'm Kelly Bannon, and I had the incredible pleasure of sitting down with Alan Jackson and talking about his brand new album, Where Have You Gone? It is full of the kind of storytelling that Alan is famous for, and it is undeniably country. So I want to start with the title track and the first track, and I want you to answer the question that you're posing with Where Have You Gone?
I don't know if I can answer it. I guess the feelings for that came out of just my love for what I call real country music and the sounds that have always been associated with it, you know, as far as the instruments and what they sound like and the melodies and the song, what the songs are about. And that's always been what country music is to me. And I feel like in some ways that has gotten further away from where it has ever been. I mean, it's always been up and down and things change and music evolves, I know, but it always seemed to cling to a little bit of that old traditional nature that made it what it is. And I don't know, I'm not fussing about everybody's music or anything. It's just my love that's what I love. I love that kind of country music, and I just hate to see it disappear. And I guess that's where those feelings came from. And I wrote it from this perspective as though it were a woman that had left you, you know. And I like that part because I let people hear that song when I finished it, you know, they would think first thing they would hear it, oh, here's another heartbreak song, you know. When they get to the chorus, then it kind of flips a switch there.
What was fun for me as I was listening through the first few times is, you know, you do start on this kind of heavy, dramatic note, and it's like, is this going to be an album of heartbreak and then you do this thing where you're always balancing serious with fun or serious with playful, or, you know, and so then you almost answer your own question with back.
Yes.
Which has so much swagger and so much attitude. Lord, I'm bringing country back. It's like, it's so fun. I want to hear about writing that song, that idea.
Well, it kind of started as a joke, really. I don't know, several years ago. I don't know about the other music so much, but my kids were talking about the Justin Timberlake had this bringing sexy back song.
Yes.
And they were just laughing, talking about it. And I didn't even heard it. They were just laughing. I said, well, I think I'm going to write one about, I'm going to bring country back. And I was just teasing, you know. And anyway, they kept asking me about it every now and then. So I ended up writing it, but it wasn't, I didn't write it as from a position that I'm going to bring country back. I think it was just more of a fun song. And I ended up taking all these visual memories of things that I remember growing up in the South in small town, and which is so relatable to country music.
I'm laughing about this Justin Timberlake reference. And you know what? I feel like you're really humble, and everyone says this about you. But is there a way where just by doing the kind of music that you do best, you are bringing it back? Because you're reminding people of it. You're reminding them of the kind of music that they love, which they're hearing maybe less of explicitly on the radio. So I think you might be, even if you don't think you are.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think, when I look at this album and this whole content, I don't think that it's much different than almost any album I've made. I mean, I've always had the same subject matter. Like you were talking about, I'll have sad heartbreak, I'll have a fun song, or my wife says I write some that are corny, borderline corny songs.
Wait, what's on her corny list?
I don't know. I don't even want them to start. But anyway, I think I've always had that mixture of stuff, and I like that because it's been that way with a lot of artists and over the years. Some of my favorite, like Hank Williams, to me, is one of my all-time favorites. You know, and he'd write the heartbreak songs, and he'd write the fun drinking songs, and he'd write some that were borderline corny too. And then he'd record he wrote gospel songs and sang gospel music, and just all that same stuff that I love and grew up with. Talking about Justin Timberlake now,
yes.
It just popped in my head when you were talking about young people loving that. A few years ago, somebody told me that there was a clip of him singing one of my songs, like, I don't remember which one, like Don't Rock the Jukebox or something. I can't remember which song it was. on something when he was a kid, So that's just,
Well, he grew up in Memphis.
That's what I'm saying.
He was
It's
listening
like
to AJ when he was growing
yeah.
up.
I mean, you got a young generation that was the '90s were coming along, and he was in, at that time when he was a young kid, he liked that kind of stuff, or at least that particular song. But so you just never know who it affects.
One of my favorites is Where the Cottonwood Grows.
Okay.
And what I just want to talk writing process with you, because I think you're such a colorful songwriter. And to me, that sounds like the kind of chorus or the kind of idea where you stumbled onto the bend in the river where the cottonwood grows. And then you were like, that's the thing.
That's exactly what happened.
Tell me about it.
I don't know. It just came to me one day. I was probably driving along. That's when a lot of them come. I just remember that hook coming out, the bend in the river with the cottonwood, and that melody too. And I just stuck with it. Nowadays it's easier with the phones because I can record a melody real quick, because if it's a writer, it could be 5 minutes later and I couldn't remember that melody again. That happens to me a lot. So, I hadn't had an album in 6 years, and it wasn't intentional. It just things kind of just happened this way. But so I've had hundreds of little hooks and clips like that recorded on my phone. And when I started writing last fall, I kind of sat down and said, I got to write for this album. So I hadn't felt like writing for a while, but then I took all those out, and I had about 200 of them off that phone. It took me forever to get them off the telephone where I could.
Is there anything more vulnerable, too, than going back to those voice memos? It's like, I wouldn't want anyone to hear.
Yeah, and they're terrible. Little singing along in the middle of the night, my underwear, standing in the kitchen singing into my phone so I won't forget. But anyway, all that said, that song was just that hook started just like you said, and I just built around it. And I am a very visual person, and I always visualize all those things when it's a story type song, especially of us. What that song, all the descriptive lines in there about where you were, and a lot of times I pull memories of my young life, and a lot of times it was me and Denise and things we did back then that are true to those lines.
Yeah, I love that. I think that song is so wonderful too. You said something when you started writing this fall, and you hadn't felt like writing. How did you know it was time to do new music? Well,
we had been trying to do an album for several years, and I had some things happen in our life that just slowed us down a little, and really took a while to get over. And then after that happened, last spring, I think it was, we were scheduled to go in the studio, and I was getting started of putting songs together and figuring out what to do. And then the virus thing hit, and everything just again went on hold. And so we waited on through it and into the summer. And I finally called my producer Keith and said, "Man, can we just go in and cut this stuff? I don't want to have to piece it together and cut it, without the players and try to manufacture this. And we want to go in and cut it." And so we just did it. And everybody wore their mask and stuff and went in and finally got to it. But it was time. I knew it was time, and I wanted to record. I was ready.
Yeah, it's clear you were ready.
I probably won't be on radio. My songs probably won't be played on radio, and I'm not bitter about it at all. That's just, what it is. I'm too old for today's hot new country. But
I'm going to be mad if that
and I'm
not on the radio.
I'm not bitter about it. I don't care, but it just takes pressure off of you. You don't have to worry about, do I need to try to record something for radio, try to get on the radio or singles. And I've won every award multiple times, most of them, and I'm proud of that. But I don't care if I get nominated for anything. I don't care if it's on the radio, and it's not sounding mean. It's just the truth. I just wanted to make kind of music I love, and I know most of my fans love.
Yes.
And that's what I wanted to do with this record.